Kona, sit. Kona, sit. That's good focus.
Right. When you're talking about relationships with your dog, there's, much like children or teenagers, there's a certain level of discipline and or relationship that you have to have in order to get the dog to do what you want under your circumstances. So that was kind of a test, is what I did. And so if you walk around with food or cheese and you ask her to sit, she will.
Yeah.
And it's preferred for you to get her to sit because it's more comfortable, because the likelihood of her sitting for cheese is higher than if you didn't have cheese, right? Which is okay. However, we basically just put the test, right? And the test was, will you sit for rewards? Yes. Will you sit when I say sit? No. Right?
Right.
So the circumstances of her obedience and or her relationship is one-dimensional, and it's on her terms.
Right.
So you talked earlier about confidence and things like that. So we basically just took exactly what you were saying of walking her completely fine, and then all of a sudden, squirrel, boom. And if you can't get her to comply
Right.
under the circumstances of because I said so, your relationship is like this,
Right.
right? Where, think about it like a child. They're like, hey, give me $20, and you're like, you didn't do anything. It's like, yeah, but I love you. Come on, look, I'm your son. I'm your daughter. Give me $20. You give it to them, and then they go off. And then you're like, hey, can you come help me for a second? And you're like, out the door, right? That's the relationship that is the same. It's the same transfer. Okay.
Yeah.
It's when it's in it for me. Sure, absolutely, of course, yeah. But then when it's actually reality, it's like forget you. So I want to explain to you a couple different things because I know that you say that you're having issues with building confidence in handling her under those circumstances.
Yes.
Right. So what do you think you're lacking? That's stopping you from, so like when I go like this and I'm like, hey, this is fun over here, and you go, hey, sit, she's like, absolutely not.
Right.
Which makes you down here and her up here.
Right.
We want to kind of like even it out a bit. What do you think you need to start doing?
I need to be firmer and be the boss.
Right. And doing so, right? So in that regards of being a boss, what we want to do to a dog is actually tell them. We're not asking them, we're telling them.
So body language and my tone and my voice.
Right. But then even if you're like going to sit and you're really on top of her and you're really authoritative and she's like treat.
Yeah.
So what you have to start doing, and this is human psychology across the board, okay? And tell me if you don't follow. Consequences and discipline is what teaches us and or what really develops and creates good behavior versus bad.
Right.
Or good versus bad.
So really we shouldn't walk around with a pocket full of treats all the time.
That's not what I'm saying. You want to be able to reward her,
Yeah.
but you don't want to, so like what
You don't want her to control the reward.
right, you want to be the, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
You get rewarded.
Yeah.
That's the misconception I think a lot of people have versus people like myself who don't automatically start with food with a dog that's this old that's misbehaving.
Yeah.
Because she knows right from wrong, but she's choosing when she wants to do right and wrong,
Right.
which is a problem.
Yeah.
Because she'll check back in for you and go, okay, I'm ready to learn, feed me, and you're going to go, okay.
Yeah.
So have your food, but I want you to reward her after she complies, not say, hey, look what I got, comply.
Right.
Do you follow?
Yeah.
So when you say sit, I don't want you to go, $20 bill, boom.
Boom. Yeah.
I want you to say, hey, sit. And she goes, okay. And then one time you're going to go, thanks, bye.
Yeah.
And she's going to go, okay. And then the next time you're going to go, yes, good. And she's going to go, oh, sweet.
Yeah.
But if you're like,
Waving it around all
and then
the time.
she's like, I'm rich. I don't need that anymore. I'm full. I don't need that
I
anymore.
ate today.
Right? Squirrel. So I want her to comply to us, not say, because everything that she's doing as far as obedience on the leash is dictated off, do I want food or do I want that? And when she chooses that, she checks out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
She did when you were doing
And that's kind of what I wanted to see is,
Yeah.
you said sit, 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 gave her some food, great, she'll sit with food. However, I don't personally believe that she fully understands the command sit, which means if she's out doing all of these things and so let's see, Kona, come. Good. She might. Kona, sit. Kona, sit. Kona, sit. Kona, sit. Kona, sit. Right? I don't exist.
Yeah.
And I'm not. Yes. Good. Come. Come. California. Come. Apple.
So was it
Oh, so now you're listening to the word now.
Right.
You've seen the truth.
Right.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you get it, this happens to 90% of dog owners. It's not your fault, and I'm experimenting with her. What does she know and what does she not know? Because if she actually doesn't know the command that you're asking her to do in public, when you get environmental stressors and she's not complying, then whose fault is it?
Right.
It's ours, because she actually doesn't know it. We haven't been doing our homework.
Right.
And so this is just kind of seeing, if you do this, yes, there's a $20 bill there. If I raise my hand, yes, I will go into the sit position, and then boom, she gets delivered food. But if I could say gumball, spaghetti, the big apple, she'll sit, right? So we saw before where I didn't have any rewards, sit, 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 no way. So, that's good, because that means she actually doesn't know sit the way that we think she knows sit. So when you're out going Kona sit and I'm doing this, you're already like way behind, because first of all, there's a squirrel doing this, squeaking, and she doesn't know sit, because you don't have your food.
Right.
Do you understand?
Mhm.
And so my point is I don't want you to have to go, like, if you're out in your yard, oh, that's a cool dog, can I take a picture? And the person's going, sit, sit, hold on. You go all the way inside, go into your refrigerator, you come out and you go, sit. And then she sits, and then, but, do you understand? So that's an issue. Because it's a communicative error, right? So if you can't logic, but the big picture is you're not being able to communicate to her in a way that makes sense. Everything has to be the same, not just the commands. It's your whole demeanor. It's relationship. It's not training. Because if I said, okay, we're going to teach her how to sit, and I said, Kona, sit. She sat, and then somebody else goes, Kona, sit. She's going to go, what the hell is that? I don't know what that is.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because now you're freaking me out, right?
Yeah.
So it's not so much about the commands, and it's not so much about the training. That has a lot to do with it. But I think what really orchestrates everything is your relationship. So when I lean into a dog and I say, sit, and I sit, and I go, yes, good, and we're moving forward, she's working for me. She's not working for cheese cubes anymore, right?
So consistent.
Right, consistency. And I want her to understand that she needs to be able to work directly for me, not just a paycheck. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Right.
Because, you do that stuff for your boss in the corporate world. You don't do that with your dog. You need to be companionized. So you need to make sure that the dog is like, I love you, and I'm going to listen to you, not just I love you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? So I'm going to work her on the leash. I don't want to use a lot of pressure. Good dog training requires 0 to no pressure. But sometimes to teach them things, you have to apply it. And then once they get it, you're done. Think about it kind of like spell check or something like that. You spell something wrong, it goes, red line, nope, that's not right. You go, well, then how the heck do I do it? You go, this is how. And you go, oh, now I learned. That's kind of how I put it to my clients when we're working with the prong collar, is it's kind of just a tool to help us guide the dog and teach them, right? Because people think, you put that on, you're barbaric, you're going to slam the dog the entire time. Not at all. I'll use it 5% of the time. The other 95% or even more is going to be rewarding and having a good time. Okay. Come. Good girl. Gonna come? Yes, good girl. Nice job. Come. Good girl. Gonna sit? Yes, good girl. Good sit. Good sit. Good. A lot easier with the prong.
Okay.
Big difference.
Did you Any pressure when you told her to sit, or
Nope,
just?
nope, but that's a good point. I didn't give her pressure when when I asked her to sit, because I'm not correcting her because she's complying.
Right.
So if I say sit, I'm not gonna go sit, pop, sit,
Okay.
pop. I'm gonna go sit, she does it, yes, we're good. That's like the biggest misconception is when you put tools on dogs, and people who don't use tools think that you're correcting and you're using the tool every single time to correct the dog, which is silly. I would never do that. It's only to correct the dog when they're non-compliant. So we have say we have a 200-pound Saint Bernard at the end of the leash, and they want to jump on everything and everybody. Shh, right? And we can't correct that, then they don't learn. But as soon as you correct them a couple times and say, hey, you can't do that, they're like, okay, I got it, and then I don't need it.
Okay.
But I have it if I do. You know, it's a safety thing. Yep, sit. Sit. So she's not sitting, just a little pressure. Sit. 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 Yes, good sit. And then everything shuts off. So she's going to do a form of escape training. I'm just giving her a little pressure. I go sit. She goes, I think I know. Pressure, pressure, pressure. Butt hits the ground.
No more.
Everything shuts. Exactly.
Perfect.
Yeah, she's smart enough. She'll get it.
Yeah.
That's all. So when I say heel, she's going to be on my left side, walking next to me. When I stop, I want her to go, what are we doing? Okay? I don't want her to go, woohoo, and go forward.
Okay.
So I stop, I don't want her to keep going. That means, so if you're with your dog, and you're working, and you tell him, let's go for a little walk, and you stop, and your dog continues to go and doesn't give a damn, that means your dog has no idea that you guys are supposed to be working together. Now, when you're out walking with your dog for exercise, that's why I'm saying break. Because I want to give a command, break. That means you can walk and pull and climb and do whatever you want.
Oh, so when you say break, she has free will.
Exactly.
Oh.
If you're going to teach a dog that they have to do something, I think it's ethical to also say, now you can break. Because I'm putting pressure on you to do something, and now I'm giving you a command to do whatever the heck you want.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, very important.
So you wouldn't want to use that until you had control, like mastered with her
Correct.
the healing and staying with me and focusing on me and what I say. You wouldn't want to start doing break until you had
No, you can
that
say
mastered?
you're going to imply break when you are no longer wanting her to engage in you. So when I use break, some people say free or whatever. I'm saying you no longer have to check in with me until I say otherwise. It's a neutral. If you've ever drove like a 5-speed, okay? You're in first gear, second gear, third gear, neutral. Go away. I don't care. You're not working right now.
Okay.
Because but that's all about how I train. I'm very balanced in what I do because that's how I learn.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody says, you've messed up, here's how to fix it, I say, great, thank you, next time I get better at it. You know, and that's kind of, everybody works for something, some sort of currency. And it doesn't always have to be money, it could be joy, it could be anything. And so when I say break to her, I want her to just go off and be a dog.
Okay.
Okay.
But there are certain times that you need to be able to rein in your dog and say, you need to heel. Because there's 2 dogs walking down the road right now with no control, and I don't know them. And we have nowhere else to go because we're whatever. You need to be able to tell your dog, heel. Because if you don't, and you do this, then your dog's, you could potentially be in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
So I make it on my terms when you can run around and be crazy and when you can't.
Okay.
Think about it in the psychology of kids in streets, right? Playground, run, crazy, no limits, no hesitations, do whatever you want, headbutt each other, go up and down the slide. As soon as we go up to a road, you'll see kids stop, hold up their hand and look. Because I don't want to make a bad decision.
Okay.
So when I say heel, that means, hey, that means you got to pay attention to me and the dog's going to go, but I don't want to. Don't care. I'm looking out for you. It's my responsibility to make sure that we cross the road together. It's my responsibility to when I see dogs off leash, I can say, come, the dog comes. So don't think of it as like, I don't want to heel my dog. The state of mind is more or less, when you need to, it's nice when you have it, because ultimately it could save her life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay? So when I say, okay, heel, good heel. Good heel. Good heel, girl. Nice heel. Good job, Kona. Heel. Good job. Nice. Positive reinforcement. Kona, sit. Yes. Good girl. Now, okay, I have my food up here, and I'll take it out. Yes. Pay her. Good. Now everything's gravy. Okay, Kona, break. And now she can do whatever she wants. Do you understand?
Yeah,
Yes.
Work and play. When I
Yeah.
say work, you gotta work.
yeah.
When you play, you play.
Right.
Like, that's what we have weekends for most people. Not me, but most people. So that's
Yeah.
that's what we're doing. And in return, I'm going to get a more confident dog down the line because she's actually responsive to my commands. Dogs are very intuitive creatures with their owners. And if they feel or they know, more importantly, that you don't know what you're doing, and you don't know how to control them, and they're on the leash and they're bouncing all over the place and they're jumping on people, they're going to become very insecure because that's not in their nature. From day one, when they're born, mama's taking care of them always, right? It's what they need as they grow.
It is just like raising kids.
It's exactly like
It
it.
is, exactly, right, because
So-
if kids can take advantage of you. If
They
it's-
will.
If it's a weakness,
Yeah,
they're done. It's
absolutely.
the same with a dog.
So how